Hey, shalom, shalom, mishpocha. Welcome to another edition of Ray Bash's Ramblings, where my subject today is apologetics. I've entitled this Airtight Apologetics. Tried to do a question mark, computer wouldn't let me. But anyways, I'm asking a question. Is there such thing as airtight apologetics? I don't think so. I think that, there are facts, and then there is circumstantial evidence that goes along with those facts. But I don't think there's any such thing as airtight apologetics, because without an element of doubt, there would be no room for faith. And and God doesn't expect us to jump out on blind faith into thin air. It's the facts and the circumstantial evidence that gives faith sight. And it helps us to meet God halfway. Why else isn't there such thing as airtight apologetics? Because we're finite. We're mortal. So our understanding and our knowledge is limited. There's some things that we can't see. We can't always see into the next realm. How did I come up with these conclusions? Last night, I kind of had an epiphany. After watching Survivor Samoa, I lay down in bed, and I kind of cracked a half smile, glad that that Natalie got it instead of Russell, because I'm just so sick and tired of lying, conniving, cheating people thinking that they can get the upper hand and win because they play dirty, and the jury felt differently. So which those thoughts led me to thoughts of morality and character and integrity. And those thoughts led to apologetics. And I started thinking of all the anti-missionary arguments and the Messianic rebuttals to them, and I said to myself, if there was just only an airtight, case, if there was just some kind of linchpin, and then I thought to myself, what, if we did find a linchpin, they would replace it with something else, like somebody taking a pin out of a grenade and losing the pin. Well, they'll replace the pin with a toothpick. It's a shoddy, poor, substitute. In other words, anti-missionaries, their arguments are based on lies, twisted truths. How do I know this? Well, they've had years to formulate this stuff. They would go to Messianic organizations and say, hey, we're new Jewish believers, we're new Jewish converts, we need all the information that we can get. And so these Messianic organizations were more than too happy to oblige, free of charge, expensive apologetical books. They read through them and started formulating their counter-arguments on what was written. And all they could do was twist and pervert the truth that was already there, dress it in doubt, dress it in man-made doctrines and Jewish traditions, and first-century reactionary doctrines. That's all they could do. And so, that's how the anti-missionaries made their argument. But the Ruach HaKodesh kind of gave me, kind of spoke to me, kind of gave me a little, vision in my mind's eye. I seen this glass house with one window. It's just a small cubicle, glass cubicle, with a window. And I seen an airtight seal around. Well, before too long, the person started grabbing at their throat and, gasping to breathe, and they eventually suffocated. Why? Because it was airtight. Because of it being airtight, they used up all the oxygen and released carbon dioxide and suffocated. Then, the next scene, I saw that same person in the same glass cubicle with the window, but there was no seal on it. There was a draft, and just the draft was just coming through, and the person was just shivering and cold. And then the next scene, I seen the same cubicle, the same glass house with the same window, but this time it had insulation. And the person was just standing there, smiling and warm and content. And what the Ruach HaKodesh told me is that, that with an airtight argument, people suffocate. The human condition requires us that we need doubt. Doubt is healthy. Doubt is what that draft was. Okay? And it's healthy to some degree because it challenges and stretches our mind and our thinking, helps us to solve problems, helps us to come to conclusions on our own. But too much of a draft will leave us bitter and cold. So we need insulation. What is insulation? Insulation is faith. It lets doubt in, it lets the draft in, but in healthy doses, to where the air, the oxygen, and the temperature is regulated. There's always going to be doubt. And doubt's not an evil thing. It's not a bad thing. We have faith to filter the doubt and counteract the negative effects of the doubt. And because, as I said earlier, that because of facts and circumstantial evidence goes along with the facts inside the apologetical realm, faith is not blind. It may be a little nearsighted, a little farsighted, maybe a little dim-sighted, but it's still sighted. And for, just like the movie The Matrix, we tried to make a perfect world, but, it wouldn't work. Airtight apologetics in a perfect world, it just doesn't mix or mesh with the human condition that requires doubt to cause us to grow and to stretch our thinking. Some things you have to just go on faith. You have circumstantial evidence pointing you in the direction of why you hold certain faiths, but it's not, black and white, scientific, mathematical, cold hard facts, and it never will be. That's part of what faith is. So apologetics is a mix of faith and a mix of facts, and it's a balanced bag. So hopefully this maybe helped you out a little bit, gave you some enlightened understanding to this issue of apologetics and faith. And tune in again next time. Shalom, Shavua Tov, Mishpocha. See ya. Bye.